All right, well, good morning. We're so glad you're with us. We're going to start off with a song that we were doing for at least a few months before COVID hit, and so this one is To God Be the Glory. I love some of the words in here. It's a great celebratory song for what God is doing in and through our lives. So go ahead and lean into the PowerPoint, and the kids should know this one too, so kiddos, feel free to sing with us. To God be the glory, great things He has done. So loved He the world that He gave us His Son, who yielded His life in atonement for sin, and opened the life gate that all may go in. Praise the Lord, let the earth hear His voice. Praise the Lord, let the people rejoice. So come to the Father through Jesus the Son, and give Him the glory, great things He has done. Verse 2. Oh, perfect redemption, the purchase of blood, to every believer the promise of God. The vilest offender who truly believes, the moment from Jesus a pardon receives. Praise the Lord, let the earth hear His voice. Praise the Lord, let the people rejoice. So come to the Father through Jesus the Son, and give Him the glory, great things He has done. One more time. Praise the Lord, let the earth hear His voice. Praise the Lord, let the people rejoice. Oh, come to the Father through Jesus the Son, and give Him the glory, great things He has done. And give Him the glory, great things He has done. Oh, give Him the glory, great things He has done. All right.
Great. Awesome. Thanks so much, Dave. All right. We have asked the Tallgrass family to put together a video montage of little short stories. And so I've not seen these videos. Dave is working feverishly to put together 3 little videos that we'll share during this time. So I think Dave's pulling that video up right now as we speak.
All right. I think you have to stop screen sharing though, right?
There you go.
There we go. All right. I'm getting there. We're making it happen, guys. All right. Share, and here we go.
My name is Deaver, and one of my favorite stories is when we were looking at a building possibly to rent or purchase, and a bunch of us were looking at the sanctuary space, and all of a sudden we heard a splash, and someone had fallen into the baptistry, and I thought it was one of the Geldart boys, but lo and behold, it was actually Ricky Grieve. Stepped into the water, fell right in. It was awesome. Happy birthday, Tallgrass Church.
Our names are Dan and Stephanie Chitwood.
We made Tallgrass our church because of the family atmosphere.
Happy birthday, Tallgrass.
Tallgrass rocks.
What was your favorite part?
I think the potlucks. Happy birthday, Tallgrass.
Do you have any favorite memories?
Playing on the playground. Happy birthday, Tallgrass.
Do you have a favorite memory? Anything that you love?
I play with Cade. My name is Lily. I like that it's Tallgrass's birthday because it's a really special time. Happy birthday, Tallgrass.
Hi, I'm Amber, and some of my favorite memories from being a part of Tallgrass Church are seeing kids help lead and participate in music and worship. So that would have been Kate singing and playing percussion, Journey playing percussion, Liam singing, as well as Karis and Genevieve and Ella helping to lead actions. Happy birthday, Tallgrass!
I'll never forget switching around when we met for Central Gathering to accommodate all the Chiefs playoffs games. And then eventually we went on to win the Super Bowl. Everything was awesome.
I've loved being Sprouts coordinator this year. It's been such a gift to watch some of our kids choose to follow Jesus. As my kids sat next to me watching some of those sweet little children that we have accept Jesus, one of mine also decided to. So children, ministering to children make a huge difference. Guys, what are some of your favorite memories at church?
When we took our red hand and put our red hair tip on the piece of paper.
You loved to play with Dad when Dad was in your classroom?
My name is Summer Ramberg, and I've been growing up in Tallgrass Church, and it's really fun. I've been learning a lot about the Bible, and I have good friends to help me. I like watching people get baptized, so maybe soon I could get baptized too. Happy birthday, Tallgrass Church.
Hi, my name is Kate Deaver, and one story that I have of Tallgrass is me and some of the kids and some of the youth group peeps, we were playing tag, and my brother, we were playing tag all over the church building, and it was really fun. So happy birthday, Tallgrass Church.
Hi, my name is Karis. I made Tallgrass Church my church home because my parents made me. Happy birthday, Tallgrass!
I stuck around Tallgrass Church because I'm the lead pastor and probably need to.
All right. Hey, that was great. That was the first of three, man. I'm excited about the other two. Some of those stories and responses are awesome. All right, Father, thanks so much for the morning. Thank you that we get to celebrate 2 years of Tallgrass Church. I remember when this thing was first being planted back in April of 2018, and the launch team we had at that point, and how most all of those people are still with us if they've not moved away, and that we've added to our number as well. We continue to pray that you would add to our number daily, both those who are being saved and also those who are being added to our number, the Tallgrass family. Pray that the rest of this morning it can be celebratory and we can remember what you've done. We need our memories to be strong so we can remember your good works in the life of our church. And we also want to have vision for what could happen both now and into the future. And we love you so much. It's in Christ's name I pray. Amen. All right. Let me share my screen again. All right. So a new normal. Happy birthday, Tallgrass. So the question is, what will year 3 bring as we've wrapped up 2 years of this thing called Tallgrass Church, a church plant? I messaged some leaders at Tallgrass Church earlier this week just asking if a passage came to mind that casts vision for Tallgrass Church heading into year 3 of this church plant. So I got a few responses that I think really resonated with myself and vision for where we're at and where we're headed. So the response from Ricky Grieve down here at the bottom, and Ricky Grieve's an elder at Tallgrass Church and shared about fasting a couple weeks ago. So he said Jeremiah 17:7-8 is something that he's been memorizing and meditating on. So good for him to take those steps in a personal habit of scripture memory and meditation. And he says, I desire this for Tallgrass, and I want to see it happen during this time of drought. And the this that he's referring to is right above his quote there. Jeremiah 17:7-8 says this: Blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord, whose trust is the Lord, and he is like a tree planted by water that sends out its roots by the stream. And this tree does not fear when heat comes, for this tree's leaves remain green. This tree is not anxious in the year of drought, for it does not cease to bear fruit. So Ricky's desire for our church, that I resonate with, that is that we would be like this tree whose roots are going deep, deep, deep into the stream. Oop. And that we would even bear fruit during drought. And so I've been fascinated with this analogy of the tallgrass prairie as we named our church Tallgrass Church, and we've kind of leaned into this analogy of the prairie. And so we've been learning a little bit about the prairie, about the roots of the tallgrass plants and how they do go deep. So I looked up a little bit more into this analogy recently, and I found in the National Park Service, they have a section where they write about the tallgrass prairie. And I thought this quote was interesting even for this morning. It says this: the secret to the survival of the prairie plants is in such a hostile environment. And of course, we live in a hostile environment, a fallen, broken world where there's spiritual forces of evil opposing us. The secret to survival in the hostile environment is that 75 to 80% of the prairie's biomass or plant material is in fact underground. It's not what you see. It's the stuff that's underneath the surface that makes up the most of the life of the plant. The visible plants seen on the landscape are merely the photosynthetic leaves gathering sunlight for a much larger community underground. There's more happening under the surface than meets the eye that allows for the fruit being born above the surface. And just beneath the surface lies the main stems or rhizomes running horizontally. Here they lie protected from drying, grazing, trampling, fire, and frost, so that no matter what comes, this plant can thrive and flourish in the tallgrass prairie. And they go on to describe a specific plant that is part of the tallgrass prairie. Tough, fibrous roots descend from these rhizomes deep into the ground. Roots of some plants, such as dotted gayfeather, and there's a picture there, you've probably seen this if you walk the Konza Prairie, if you've been around anywhere hiking, you've seen these plants. Now listen to this: roots of some plants, such as dotted gayfeather, have been reported to go 10 to 15 feet deep. Yet above the surface, they're only 6 inches to 2.5 feet. On these roots are microscopic rootlets numbering in the billions and utilized by the plant. The roots of plants are so numerous that were one plant's roots placed end to end, they would stretch for miles. So the roots go deep in the tallgrass prairie, and Lord willing, here at Tallgrass Church, so eventually we can go wide with the power and the authority of Jesus. Now, as people ask me how Tallgrass Church is doing, I say, hey, we're doing great. We're still a small, young church plant, but the roots are going deep, and I believe that to be the case with our church. And if you can see me, I can't see everyone right here, but look into my eyes. Personal renewal comes before cultural renewal. And that means that every person who's zooming in here and everyone who calls Tallgrass Church their family, it is important for you to send your roots deep into the source of life that is Jesus Christ, so that our church can grow and have the impact culturally that we long for it to have. So I would encourage you, vision moving forward is push a little harder, drive your roots down a little deeper this week and this season. Develop just a little more moxie or grit or resilience, pick your word. And now is not the time to say, hey, we're in the middle of COVID-19, things are hard, I'm going to check out. Now is the time to lean in and ask God, what does he have for you, so that you can become more like these plants in the tallgrass prairie whose roots go deep. So that's a little bit vision for us from Ricky Grieve, which I resonate with deeply. Another response I got in this question I sent out to a few leaders was from Cassie Chapman, and she shared a brief testimony last week about how she's leaning into personal habits in this season. And so this is what Cassie emailed me. So quoting Cassie Chapman and her vision for you all from the scriptures. She said, the passage that comes to mind when I think about tallgrass now and also casting vision for the future is John 13, 34 to 35. And that, of course, is the passage where Jesus says, a new commandment I give to you, that you love one another just as I have loved you, because I first loved you. Now you are also to love one another. By this, all people will know that you are my disciples.
If you have love for one another. So she says,
that we love one another and would continue to do so, even in the midst of coronavirus, in the midst of the joys, and also in the midst of mourning. Loving one another also includes teaching one another, admonishing one another, and discipling one another. So speaking the truth in love, that we would model this well so that our neighbors, friends, our coworkers, our families, and MHK community would see Tallgrass members and know the love between us as Jesus disciples, and that in fact this would spread worldwide. I thought I was going to share a chat here. Yes. Oh, never mind. Can't do it. So her vision for our church, which I resonate with, which apparently is the vision Jesus had for his disciples, is that they would love one another so that when people saw the love they had for one another, they would be able to say they are connected to the source of life, Jesus Christ. Very consistent with our mission statement, because God first loved us, which is the gospel. Christ laid down his life for us that we would have life in him. So therefore we exist to love God and to love our neighbors. And so I see this happening. I see this happening even in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. Of course, we have to get creative. We have to get unique. But I feel that the spiritual union between our church is actually growing stronger, even despite this physical distancing. As I've talked with Dave Geldar, and of course, for those that are not Zooming in ever and maybe are on the fringe, maybe they're not feeling it or you're not feeling it. But from my perspective, from where I sit and talking with some of the other key leaders, I feel that this is happening. And then moving forward into year 3, all the more these things can happen. So I wanted to have Dave give us a brief financial report as part of this celebration of 2 years. So I'm going to unmute, or Dave can unmute himself.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So this one's not going to be too long, but I just wanted to give you guys a little sense of where our church family is at with finances. Sometimes in the past, we've been behind and it's tough, and we're trying to give vision for one another. And this one's not going to be so much that. I mean, we're behind a little bit on where we had hoped to be budget wise, but that's not because of COVID. And we've been able to cut some expenses during this season. Having much lower rent helps. We've got a pretty favorable rental agreement with College Heights, so that we've been paying much less during the season. So that's sweet. And we know that this season is a financial strain for many. But what's been so cool, at least from my perspective, I'm the only one who sees the giving numbers at Tallgrass. But what's been so cool for me is that some have had to step back in their giving some during this COVID season, and we understand. But that's not many. Actually, we're net positive on giving during this COVID season. Some folks are stepping up, giving more. Some folks have started giving. So actually, we're net positive on our giving. It's pretty sweet. And it's been cool to see how we've been, as a church, able to successfully keep giving out during this season. So Tallgrass has been able to help those in need within our church family, outside of our church family, some of our neighbors, and even around the world. We're going to hear how your giving money has been used to help around the world here in a little bit. Additionally, we've been really blessed. Tallgrass has successfully applied for and been granted one of the forgivable loans through the government stimulus paycheck protection program. So that's going to mean that ultimately Tallgrass is going to get and has gotten about $20,000 to help us to keep running during this season. So we know that many applied and then were not able to get this money during this time, and so we feel like this is a huge blessing for our church. So that's going to go a long way to help us kind of close our gaps and enable us to keep helping others during this time, which is our vision. So there's actually a lot of great reason to celebrate, I think, God's gracious provision for us and through us during this time. There's still opportunities to step in and to give, to step up your giving, perhaps, to take a step of faith so that you can give back to God and help our church be a blessing to others during this season. And just a reminder, we don't talk about this a ton, but on the screen there is how you can give to Tallgrass so we don't pass the plate, especially during COVID season. Most folks give online at tallgrass.church with your bank account or credit card. If you do give with a credit card, we would encourage you, there's an opportunity for you to click a little box and cover the finance charges. So that's something we would encourage you to do if you give with a credit card, because they are a little bit higher to Tallgrass. You can still give with check. There's a snail mail address, our P.O. Box, P.O. Box 1795, 66505. That's a way you can give. And some who still want to give via cash have, made arrangements, and we do a drop off in my mailbox and text beforehand. And that's an option too. So connect with me if that's a better fit for you. Finally, we do have text to give up and running. That could be convenient for some during this season. Once you text that number and register and set up, then you just text a number to that and give. So thank you for supporting the ministry of Tallgrass during the season. I'm excited to see how God will use our somewhat small church in greater ways over this season to be a blessing. I think God has blessed us so that we can be a blessing. I'm excited to be a part of more of that in the future.
Yeah, very cool. Thanks, Dave. It was just last September 2019, that David Renberg and I were meeting for coffee at Redina's in Aggieville, which I hope we can do before too long. And both of us said that the number one cause of anxiety in our lives were the Tallgrass finances. And then we cast vision in October and we're able to head into 2020 strong. And, obviously our journey is far from over, but because of our relative financial strength during this drought, we now are able to help others beyond our immediate Tallgrass family. So I'm going to highlight or have Ron share with us one of the things we're going to do over the next few months is to choose an organization to support each month with a one-time $500 donation out of our neighboring fund. And so the first one that we've chosen is actually Orphan Helpers, which Ron Goodman works for. So I turn over to you. You have to unmute yourself.
Hey. Well, thanks, Ben. And, just real quickly, background is that Orphan Helpers is a mission that works in Honduras and El Salvador, and Tallgrass this budget year is sponsoring Orphan Helpers monthly with a general gift, as well as this additional $500 gift that Ben referred to. We work in two countries, Honduras and El Salvador, and we work in government-run organizations. My role is basically a partnership coordinator for Orphan Helpers and continue to have the privilege of serving in that capacity. We have a lot of wonderful things that are happening as we work with these really abandoned youth, neglected, forgotten youth who are mostly incarcerated in juvenile prisons, but we also work in some protection centers where youth are placed because they're orphaned or abandoned by families, or they perhaps have been abused and taken away from families. So one story that comes out of that abandoned youth category, or actually an orphaned youth, is a girl that we call Maribel. You might say Mary Bell in our English style. And I happened to share this with the elders this week, and the elders kind of quickly decided that they would share a gift from the neighboring fund with her. When I first met Mary Bell was almost 10 years ago, and she was in a government center. Then we brought her to what we had then as a halfway house. It was called the Hope House, where we had teenagers living, and we were caring for them and guiding them. And Mary Bell, I remember one night sharing with us that when we chose her to come to the halfway house from the government center, the government workers had said to her, "Why in the world are they choosing you? Why are they taking you? That's a waste of their time to take you." And that's how she had been treated all her life. She was one of the most beat down, low esteem girls I'd ever known. That first time I met her, she would sit in the chair in the meeting, and she had her head down and she would just twirl her hair. I haven't got any hair to twirl to show you that, but she would do that. And she was just a very, very defeated young woman. But we worked with her and helped her, and she became a Christian. She changed her life. I mean, she began to see the love of God in her life. And we helped her through high school. And after high school, she was really doing pretty well. She had a friend, Dilcia. Dilcia had been with her at the Hope House, and they have actually moved this last year out to an island called Roatan, which is a Honduran island just off the coast. And she had been working in a clothing store and doing well, but she's become very ill. She has epilepsy, which she's fought for some time, but she also has experienced extreme kidney failure. So she has to have dialysis regularly. What's happened is Honduras is under a COVID-19 restriction, very strict. I mean, they only get 1 day a week based on their government ID that they can get out and go to the grocery store. And if they're out any other time, they can be arrested unless they have some form of authorization with them. So she was, where she was, they also closed down the dialysis center in this time of restriction. It was an outlet center that the Dialysis Foundation ran. So the Dialysis Foundation had her flown, actually by an Army plane, to the capital city of Tegucigalpa. So here she is in Tegucigalpa, an orphan, no family. She's apart from her friend that's been watching over her and taking care of her. And she's just abandoned. She's just totally alone. So the only connection she had was Orphan Helpers. So we were able to step in. We wondered how in the world could we help her, because most of our staff live too far away and they can't travel every day, and she has to have dialysis every 2 days. So we thought of a girl from from our program who had been in a prison in the Sacred Heart Girls Detention Center, but accepted Christ. Her name was Stephanie, and our staff knew that Stephanie lived close to the hospital. So they approached her, and her family has stepped in, and they're so thankful for what we've done for Stephanie and seeing Christ change her life that they are willing to give back to help Maribel. So we found this little apartment. It wasn't much, but it's a place for her to stay. And we're trying to fix it up a little and get her the clothing and things that she needs. This is one of our success coaches for Orphan Helpers sitting next to her on this picture. And the family, Stephanie's family, has agreed to get food to her, to check in on her, make sure she's doing okay. And the father, Stephanie's father, is a taxi driver, so he is driving her every 2 days to the hospital for dialysis. So she spends almost every 2 days, most of us every 2 days at the hospital. So, our heart goes out to her. She's always kind of had my heart since I first met her. And she and her friends called me Papa Ron. So I was getting these Facebook messages, please help, help, help. And I didn't know what to do except to work through our Orphan Helper staff in country. And they've done a marvelous job of coming alongside her and giving her a chance to live. And we don't know what the long-term future is for her. I hope that she can get back with her friends and where she can have others care for her. But meanwhile, we had to step in, rent an apartment. We're spending $100 a month on this little apartment, $100 for food, $100 for medicine, and then some incidentals. And so the gift from Tallgrass Church of $500 will meet most of her needs for almost 2 months. And some others of us have given personal funds. So we're keeping her alive, and she knows that she's loved and cared for. And we're hoping that with Tallgrass, we can set up a way to maybe communicate. Maybe some of you would want to get letters to her. She doesn't have electronics now, but we'll see what can happen with that. But we can, through our staff, get messages to her and consider her kind of an adopted little girl. Well, she's 24 years old now, but she's had a tough life. And we're thankful. Thank you, Tallgrass, for your neighboring fund, for your giving, that we can do this.
Yeah. Thanks, Ron. Thanks for sharing. And so Maribel, now her story is a part of our story forever. So hopefully people will look back and remember that, years from now when we supported her. And we have a video, second video. I think Dave's going to get fired up here. I'll stop sharing. And after we watch this video, we'll sing together.
Hi, Tallgrass family. Thanks for making church feel like home. I feel like I've grown a lot in grit and authenticity this past couple years. The road hasn't always been easy or very put together at times, but I really do feel like God is growing in each of us and through us as a church as a whole, and I'm really excited to celebrate this year. Happy birthday, Tallgrass.
Tallgrass, you have given me a family away from home. happy anniversary.
Bill and Naomi's wedding was so fun. The only wedding I know of that the whole world was invited to, except for the marriage supper of the Lamb. I love that they had vision for that, doing that during our central gathering. And I love the moment recently here during this coronavirus outbreak where the Thorpes were zooming in from Hawaii and hadn't met Naomi yet, and they just said, "Hey, Naomi, we were at your wedding. You may not realize it, but they were there via Facebook Live." So that was pretty awesome.
My name's Dylan. The best memory or story for me for Tallgrass would be definitely like still happening. It's like watching our youth group start from being strangers to then like kind of like I'm gonna deal with you to then like actual friends, forming a group and a bond that they can lean on one another, and I'm just excited to see like that continue.
Hi, what's up? It's Christian. One of my favorite parts about Tallgrass has been learning to do sound and step out of like peer pressure itself and growing into volunteering on my own and helping other people, as well as coming out of my shell a little bit more. Happy birthday, Tallgrass.
Happy birthday, Tallgrass. My name is Hope, and I chose to go to Tallgrass because I was welcomed into the Grieve family, who are so special to me, and I am so thankful for the people I've met at Tallgrass who have made me feel so welcomed. Happy birthday.
My name is Emily Grieve, and I chose to go with Tallgrass 2 years ago when we first started because these are the people I call my family. There are fewer things more precious in this world than the chance to live life with the people you love. I have been grateful to be a part of this family since the very beginning, and I just want to wish Tallgrass a happy birthday.
I remember that time when Aaron Rickenberg visited Tallgrass Church for the first time, and Dave was asking what you guys are going to be doing for Memorial Day, and he hollered out, "Smoking meat!" And Dave said, "Smoking weed!"
Happy birthday, Tallgrass. My name is Laura, and my favorite part about being part of Tallgrass is the sense of community and how people really show up for each other and do life together. It's not just a Sunday morning thing. You form deep relationships and a real sense of community that keeps you connected. May there be many more birthdays to come. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Tallgrass. It's been such a good time getting to know everyone and just growing friendships here at Tallgrass, being part of the life groups, and growing my own family too. Happy birthday.
One of the ways I've grown since being at Tallgrass Church is in trusting God for healings and the supernatural and believing more in miracles. I'll remember when we all prayed over Barb that she would become eligible for a lung transplant, and she got the call that there was a lung available for her. So God is stretching me to believe more practically and functionally in the supernatural while being here at Tallgrass Church.
Great, that's awesome. Okay, we're gonna sing together. So Bill Bickmeyer replied to my question about vision for our church, and he quoted Nehemiah 6:16. When all our enemies heard of it, all the nations around us were afraid and fell greatly in their own esteem, for they perceived that this work had been accomplished with the help of our God. And of course, our enemies are not flesh and blood, but the spiritual forces of darkness. And so the vision is that the enemy, Satan himself, would shudder when a Tallgrassian wakes up because we're about to go to work for the kingdom. And Bill says, may everyone know that Tallgrass is formed and standing because our God is great. And so God's greatness is being declared to a watching world and to the spiritual forces of darkness. Through Tallgrass, we have ample reason to take courage. So let's sing about that. We'll get Peter's going to lead us.
Slow down, take time, breathe in, he said, he'd reveal what's to come. The thoughts in his mind, always higher than mine, he'll reveal all to come. Take courage, my heart, stay steadfast, my soul. He's in the waiting. He's in the waiting. Hold on to your hope as your triumph unfolds. He's never failing. He's never failing. My soul, find strength and joy. Let his words lead you on. Do not forget his great faithfulness. He'll finish all he's begun. So take courage, my heart. Stay steadfast, my soul. He's in the waiting. He's in the waiting. Hold on to your hope as your triumph unfolds. He's never failing. He's never failing. And you hold the stars, who call them each by name, will surely keep your promise to me, that I will rise in your victory. And you hold the stars, who call them each by name, will surely keep your promise to me, that I will rise in your victory. Oh, so take courage, my heart. Stay steadfast, my soul. He's in the waiting. He's in the waiting. Hold on to your hope. Watch your triumph unfold. He's never failing. He's never failing. Take courage, my heart. Stay steadfast, my soul. He's in the waiting. He's in the waiting. Hold on to your hope. Watch your triumph unfold. He's never failing. He's never failing. He's never failing. He's never failing. No, you're never failing.
Thanks so much, Peter. Thanks for singing out, everyone who did. Time for our third and final video before we sing to close this thing out.
My name is Cassie Chapman, and I chose to make Tallgrass Church our home church because of the love between its people, being able to love one another in the ways you think, but then also being able to admonish one another and teach one another and help each other grow. Happy birthday, Tallgrass.
My name is Maris, and I have loved being a part of Tallgrass Church these last 2 years. I've especially loved opening up our home to our life group each week and just doing life with our close friends. It's been such a joy for us. I want to wish Tallgrass a very happy birthday.
My name's Ricky. I made Tallgrass Church my home because I thought it'd be a risk to see the Lord show up and change our lives by doing a church plant. And we have a lot of amazing memories, like all the baptisms that we've been able to be a part of, and falling in a baptismal myself and almost rolling a Jeep like while Ben's in it and seeing him freak out. So happy birthday, Tallgrass. It's been a blast.
Remember that time when the band set up at the back of the sanctuary and everyone was facing forward, and it was one of the most awkward experiences I've ever had in church. But what it represented was cool creativity, trying to think outside the box in the way we do music, which I hope that will continue, and we'll keep tweaking and growing and learning together and becoming a stronger worshiping through song community.
Tallgrass blessed me with the opportunity of going to KLC this year. What a gift that was. I am so much better as a leader already. Thank you for the way that you are serving the community and blessing everyone, encouraging everyone to be a leader anytime, anywhere, even now. So, happy birthday. Happy birthday!
Hi, I'm David Renberg. And one of my favorite stories from Tallgrass Church is hosting the fall party. Mary brought out her horses, and we had lots of food, a scavenger hunt for the kids, and it was a really good time. Happy birthday, Tallgrass.
One of the ways I've grown is trusting God with the unknown. Waymaker's a big song for us for a reason. We face all sorts of uncertainty, and God continues to provide. I think specifically recently about the facility we were looking at. We thought we would lease and be able to move to Sunday mornings. It was going to be awesome. That fell through. We were disappointed, but then when COVID-19 hit, we were so thankful we weren't locked into that lease. And so yeah, God is stretching me to trust Him even with the unknown.
Hi, my name is Dave Geldart, and I've grown through our time at Tallgrass by being able to more embrace rest through risk, following God and engaging with Him and finding rest and taking risks that way. And a recent fun memory was actually a few weeks ago when the Oglesbys and the Hilligeists they hosted that Zoom game night. So fun, such fun, even through Zoom. So thanks, guys. Happy birthday, Tallgrass.
I love the story of the first time when Terrence Thomas visited. He, at the end of Central Gathering, he walked all the way down and just grabbed the mic and just shared his heart with us. That was awesome, and we've been able to walk with him as he's currently deployed, and we're excited to welcome him back. And it is such a privilege and an honor to walk with anyone who walks through the doors, wherever they're at in their journey.
All right, that was great. Yeah, I like some of the comments in our chat. Hey, let's sing together. We're gonna get creative here, and we're gonna have both Dave Geldart and Peter Ruby lead us as we sing Waymaker together.
You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you, I worship you. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are here, you're touching every heart. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, you're healing every heart. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, turning lives around. here, demanding every heart. So we worship you, cause you're the way maker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You're the way maker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. You're my God, that is who you are. You're the way maker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Yes, that is who you are. Oh, that is who you are. Oh, that is who you are. That is who you are. Lord, that is who you are. That is who you are. Lord, that is who you are. That is who you are. Yes, that is who you are. Oh, that is who you are. Oh, that is who you are. That is who you are. Even when I can't see it, you're working. Even when I can't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I can't see it, you're working. Even when I can't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I can't see it, you're working. Even when I can't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I can't see it, you're working. Even when I can't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You're the waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. That is who you are. That is who you are.
Amen. Let's sing this together. Praise God from whom all blessings flow. Praise Him, all creatures here below. Praise Him above the heavenly host.
Praise Father, Son, and Holy Ghost.
Amen.
All right. Hey, you all are unmuted. It's great.
Like what they do at first.
Time to celebrate. So I'm going to mute everyone. You can unmute yourself if you'd like. Hey, everyone get your birthday cake. Hey, you've officially made it through our entire central gathering, digital gathering number, who knows how many. Tallgrass Church turning 2 years old. If you have your birthday cake, grab it real quick. I'm super excited. I got vanilla on vanilla with sprinkles. And we're going to sing happy birthday real quick. And we'll just start eating these, and then we'll be into our after party here. Time to engage with each other. And just the time is yours, the time is ours to spend together. So let's go ahead and sing. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to us. Happy birthday, dear Tallgrass.
Happy birthday to us.
Good. You guys are great. All right. I'm going to start eating my cake. I'm going to throw a few prompts over here on the chat. Go ahead and click mute all, and you guys can unmute yourselves if you want.
This teaching was recorded at Tallgrass Community Church. Because God first loved us, we exist to love God and love our neighbors. For more resources like this, visit tallgrass.church.